Will Samson run on handheld? That's right, we are testing Samson today. We're going to be testing it on the Asus Xbox Ally, the base white Ally. We're also going to be testing it on the Xbox Ally X just here, and we're going to be testing it on the R.O.G Ally, but this is running SteamOS 3.7, and we're also going to be running it on the Legion Go 2, which will also be running SteamOS, and this is 3.9. So we've got 2 Windows devices and 2 SteamOS devices that we're going to be checking this out on. And well, let's just crack into it.
Right, it's time for me to pay 128 KB bills for today's totally impartial video sponsor, and that's JP Fans. And this website really does have some tricks up its sleeve if you're a serious gamer or, like me, a hoarder. No, sorry, a collector. Because we all know the best retro consoles, limited edition handhelds, and pristine boxed games never left Japan, but trying to buy them yourself from outside of Japan is a shambles. You're dealing with language barriers, retailers that refuse to ship internationally, or the dreaded eBay scalpers charging triple the price. We hate them. This is where JP Fans comes in. They're a proxy buying service that gives you direct, unfiltered access to massive Japanese marketplaces, including the absolute goldmine that is Japanese Mercari. It's incredibly simple. You just go to a JP Fans website, search for the item you want in English, and place your order directly through their platform. That's it. They buy the item then locally in Japan, receive it at their warehouse, and ship it globally right to your front door. And the best part, they offer package consolidation as well. So you can buy a bunch of rare games from 10 different sellers, and JP Fans will box them all up together to massively save you on international shipping. Get all of it at the same time. I think this is an incredible service to hunt down those immaculate Japan-only PlayStation Vitas or 3DS models that you just can't find anywhere else at a reasonable price. So if you want to unlock the holy grail of retro gaming and collectibles, then this is the service for you. Hit the link in the description to check out JP Fans, grab some exclusive coupons to save on your first order, and by doing so, you'll be directly supporting the channel. And of course, massive thanks to JP Fans for sponsoring this video.
So we're kicking this off with the Xbox Ally, the base one, and you can see right now I've been sat on a compiling shaders screen for quite some time now actually, so I'm just gonna have to wait it out. But whilst I'm waiting it out, let's just talk about what I'm doing here. We are going to be using the maximum mode, right? I am plugged in because this looks like it's going to be quite a demanding game. So I'm going 20 watts all in. I don't know yet whether it's CPU demanding or not. So there may be a chance I have to enable CPU boost, but we'll have to just wait and see until we're actually inside the game, right? So I'm going to be doing this at 720p. I'm actually on 6 gig of VRAM just here inside Armory Crate, and we're still compiling shaders. So it took about 10 minutes to compile shaders, and there's no number or no bar that goes up. It just looks like it's crashed, other than the fact that the music's still playing. So yeah, I was like, all right, okay, whatever. So we're in the game here. Let's go and see options, shall we? So I'm going to go over to video. It's already saying 720p because that's what this screen defaults to, even though it's a 1080p screen. We're definitely not going to be getting there. So we're already on FSR quality. I'm going to drop that all the way down to just ultra performance, and we'll go from there. Oh, it does have frame gen on out of the box. I didn't know that. So let's turn that off. And then let's go presets. Oh, okay, so it goes performance, balanced, quality, ultra. So performance is just like everything on low. I'm going to go ahead and turn off motion blur. And VSync, I'm going to turn off VSync here. And then I'm just going to make sure all of this is, yeah, that's unlimited in terms of gameplay. Cool. I'm going to hit A to confirm it. And now let's back out. Whoa. Okay, so on ultra performance with no frame gen, it looks like a potato. I don't know if you can see that. Like, it's gone like 8-bit mode and it's like 20 FPS. Bear in mind though that we do not have frame gen on. But again, I don't think frame gen is like the savior of all things. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Look at that. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but yeah, that looks pretty awful. And I'm getting 20 FPS, 18 FPS, 19 FPS, 20 FPS, just for running around here. Let's see if we can make this a little bit better. So let's just see what happens if we go to, let's just go to where it wanted it to be. It wanted it to be on quality mode with frame gen on. But before I do that, let's just go to ultra performance and then frame gen and just see what goes on here, right? And just go back. So now with frame gen on, straight away I can feel that frame gen latency. So like the camera turning feels heavy. Whereas a second ago it was turning like all right. Now it feels heavy. Obviously the visuals haven't been like improved because we're on the same ultra performance, but we are getting like 35 FPS now, which is, you know, I suppose playable, I suppose. Let's just go ahead and see if we can change that upscaling. Let's just go ahead and go to balanced instead. Balance looks a lot better, like way better. It still doesn't look great, but we are still getting like the same frame rate. We're getting like 35 to 40 FPS here. What's this? Oh, the CPU utilization is like 97%. Everything's whacked out on here. Let's just try putting CPU boost on and seeing if that makes any difference. I mean, the whole thing is a little bit sluggish right now, even though I'm like powered in at the wall. So I've put CPU boost on. Does that help at all? Don't think so. All I've done is remove some power from the GPU. So GPU utilization is now going down to like around 90%. So let's just go ahead and turn off CPU utilization again, just to see where that leaves us. So turning that off. Okay, CPU utilization has dropped down from 100 to about 98. And GPU utilization has gone up very slightly, but really it's actually sitting around the same sort of area there. But yeah, we're looking at around 30 to 35 FPS, but this looks way better so far. And that is on balanced. Let's just see if we can get away with going up to quality. I don't think we will, but you know, let's just try it. So here we are. We're now on quality. This looks miles better than ultra performance. And again, we're still at that sort of like 40 FPS. That's really, really weird. So, I don't know, it's dropping between sort of 30 and 36 FPS, but it does look a lot better. And I mean, if you can handle playing this at 30 FPS, which you kind of should be expecting on this device here, well then, yeah, like you could totally play this. I know I'm only just in this one little area. I will get in the car in a second. But the frame rate is a little bit confusing because it doesn't seem to matter what mode I put it on. Let's just put native. I know this is going to tank it. But let's have a go on here. Wow, that looks so much better. Like way better. And we're still at the sort of like 30 to just over 30 FPS, 34 FPS. If you're going to plan on playing this at 30 FPS, is there a 30 FPS cap? Let's just have a little look. So let's go down into the bottom just here. So general, let's go 30 FPS and let's go 30 FPS on battery and hit A. Remember, this is like ultimately maxed out and I do have frame gen on. So I've now capped it at 30. I mean, the frame rate is still fluctuating. It's still jumping up to like 34, but this looks miles better than it did a second ago. Do you remember him like on ultra performance? Looked like absolute potato. I mean, this actually looks good. Like, it actually legit looks good. Whoa, it's okay. It's chugging there. It is chugging. Let's just try it in the car. I don't think this is going to be the way to play it at native, especially when I start driving, because I think it's just going to start chugging hard. Whoa, that is a skatey car. Again, the frame generation does not help this situation. Oh my God, yeah, that's not ideal. Yeah, okay, it feels like 10 FPS. And the frame gen is making this really heavy. So let's, now we're in the car, drop that back down. So I'm once again going to disable the 30 cap. So let's just turn that off and go to unlimited. And instead of native, I'm going to go to balanced and just see how this is, right? So let's just go balance, come back. Is it any better? We're still at around the sort of 30 FPS mark according to the, oh, it's stuttering. But according to the frame rate monitor in the corner there, we're at around 30 FPS. Man, this car is so skatey to drive. But it's heavy because of that frame gen. You'll absolutely need frame gen on. and it's just, oh man, look at it. Okay, I don't know if it is playable, man. You could totally play this at ultra. Oh, look at it. It's tanking out now. It's just totally tanking out. Whoa. Okay, yeah. Let's just last ditch attempt to put it back on. Let's just put it on straight performance and see how it deals with that. So straight performance, we're now in the sort of like high 30s. It does look like a potato, but it's not as bad as ultra performance. And it doesn't seem to be stuttering as much as the others. Man, it still does stutter. It's still stuttering. And it, again, just feels heavy and clunky. If you don't mind the odd stuttering when driving, then this is possibly playable. I personally couldn't play it like this, but if this is your only device and you absolutely must play this, well then maybe, I guess, that's down to you. I'm just showing you what's happening. Okay, and now we are on to the R.O.G Ally running SteamOS 3.7, and compared to the Xbox Ally that took over 10 minutes to compile shaders, this was almost instantaneous. I literally clicked play, and I would say 30 seconds and I'm in the game. So what took 10 minutes on the Xbox Ally, the white one, right, literally took less than a minute on here. So I am in SteamOS. I'm going to be running max power. That's why I've got it plugged in. We're going 30 watts because, again, demanding game. I just want to get straight into it and show you what's capable, right? So we're going to options. Let's go to video. We're in windowed full screen. We are at 1080p. It defaults to frame gen on. So let's turn that off. Let's go all the way down to ultra performance and start from there, right? Now I just want to go down and turn off motion blur, and then just make sure general is unlimited, and I'm going to press A. So no frame gen, this is 30 watts, and also I'm on ultra performance FSR. And the frame rate is about mid 30s inside. So let's just get out, shall we? Let's go downstairs. Again, ultra performance is not going to look ideal, but it's going to look a lot better than it did on the Xbox Ally because we are starting at a higher resolution. So we are upscaling to 1080p rather than upscaling to 720p like we were on the Xbox Ally. So it does look a lot better already just for being on ultra performance, right? So it does look a lot better than the Xbox base Ally. So outside we're getting around the 35 FPS mark. Okay, that's cool. Let's just try chucking frame gen on and seeing how that goes. So let's go frame gen on. It's going to immediately feel more clunky and slow. Yep. So it straight away just feels heavy. It's almost like no power steering car, right? Like if anyone remembers that, or am I just old? Like you have to like push and wait. It is like heavy and clunky, but we are getting around almost 50 FPS now, which is way more playable than the Xbox Ally was getting. All right, so that is something to take note of. Let's try and improve this a little bit. I will get in the car and drive around in a minute. Let's just go to performance instead. Yep, we're now at performance. Immediately looks way better. Obviously, the frame rate's going to drop down, so we're now at like 40 FPS now running around here. And yeah, we're sort of at 43, 46 FPS, that kind of thing. Let's just, for the sake of it, try the next one up, which is balanced, and go OK, confirm, wait for that, and wait for it a second. Immediately looks way nicer, and we're almost at the same frame rate as performance. We're now at like 40 to 41 FPS, 39. Okay, we've dropped down a little bit, but it looks so much nicer. It really does look a lot nicer. Like the image quality is so much better. I'm one for not liking stuff looking like a complete potato, but that's just me. But remember, we are using frame gen, and I personally don't really like frame gen because of how like slow and clunky stuff feels. But this is kind of like a beat 'em up kind of game. There's no guns in this game, so maybe that doesn't matter. But you know, it's just delayed, isn't it? Like it just seems. Is there a jump? I swear there was a jump. I guess there's not. Oh, you have to be walking, do you? So there's just a little bit of delay going on here, but it does look a lot better. Now, just because we're going through all these quality types, let's just go to quality and try that. And now we're at like 30, 38 FPS. 35, it's now feeling really clunky and slow. But again, we do have frame gen on, so it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting just here. So let's put it to performance and let's try turning frame gen off and just seeing what performance is like. Immediately doesn't feel so heavy. It's a little bit more of a slow game, but it does feel a lot better here, even though it's only 30 FPS. So just bear that in mind. We're actually dipping down to like 29 FPS there. So let's just try and mess with some of this. So let's go to full screen and let's go to 900p and just see if we can net some more frame rate there. So now we're at 33, 32 FPS, so a little bit more FPS by dropping the resolution down to like 35. Let's just go ahead and try 720p. So 720p, save. And we're still on performance, remember? And we're sort of 30, again, we're around the 35 mark. I would say 900p is the sweet spot. Let's see what 900p and balanced is like. 900p in performance is probably where you want to be. This looks way better. Okay, yes, it is at like 30 FPS, so just bear that in mind. But yeah, I mean, that's not too bad. Honestly, it feels okay. But what's the driving going to be like? Is it going to ultimately fail? Let's see, shall we? The cars are quite heavy and slow in this, really like drifty and skatey. So just bear that in mind. They're like, they don't react very well, but I mean, it is a muscle car, right? But we're at like, we're in the 20 FPSs now. Whoa. Yeah, we're in like 28 FPS. So let's just go and put this down to performance again and maybe put frame gen on and just see what this is like. Immediately it's jumped up to the high 40s. Let's just see how stable it is. I mean, the camera's reacting a lot better than the Xbox Ally. Oh, there's some stutters, probably as it's loading in stuff. So this looks like this might be a common theme here, that whilst driving there might be like stuttery areas, because I definitely found that on the Xbox Ally. But I mean, we're in the like sort of 40 FPS mark here. This is totally playable. It wasn't so playable on the Xbox Ally, at least driving around fast. So yeah, just bear that in mind, that you're going to have to rely on frame gen really, because we can do one last test whilst we're in the car and go ahead and put ultra performance on and turn off frame gen and just see how this is. Whoa, it immediately turns it into like pure potato mode. It does not look great at all. But I mean, we're at the sort of like mid to high 30s. If you don't mind it looking a little bit pants or using frame gen, yeah, it's totally playable. With frame gen, you're in the like high 40s. It is totally playable on the OG Ally running SteamOS, which I would definitely say if you've got an OG Ally, it's probably time to start thinking about moving over to SteamOS. Oh, it was stuttering then, and we're now in the 20 FPS mark. But again, we don't have frame gen on at the minute. So yeah, I mean, this does look like quite a demanding game. The driving areas definitely cause some stuttering, but just running around and stuff. Now I'm at like 40 FPS, and I don't even have frame gen on. So yeah, I mean, it's looking like a little bit of a difficult game to run. So now we are on to the Xbox Ally X. I have 10 gigabytes of VRAM set. I'm also on 35 watt profile just here, so I'm maxed out and plugged in, and I've got CPU boost off as well. I mean, here inside, whatever the settings are that they've given, it's getting 60 FPS, but let's just run outside and then we can look at the actual settings and start messing around. So now we are outside and we're getting around sort of 48, 49 FPS with their settings. Let's just go ahead and take a look. So we're at 1080p FSR quality with frame gen on. Oh, and the preset is set to balanced this time. So let's just go ahead and go to performance, and let's go down, turn motion blur off and turn VSync off as well. And then let's turn frame gen off and put it down to ultra performance just to see what we're going to be getting with no frame gen and everything else. We're getting around 35 FPS, around 35 FPS, something like that. So yeah, okay, 35 FPS, but it looks pretty bad because we're on ultra performance. This game, according to the other devices I've just tested before this one, does look like you're going to be relying on frame generation to play. But let's just try performance. Again, sort of around the sort of 35, 37 FPS, okay? In this sort of area, it immediately looks a lot better as well. Like, looks way better with performance. Let's just try balanced. It looks like we're at 30 FPS. 30, well, it's jumping up again. We're at like 35 in this area. Remember, I am just in this one area. We will get in the car in a minute. So, okay, so we're at the sort of 35 mark just there. So it does look like you're going to be wanting to leave the actual in-game settings pretty low unless you want to rely on frame gen and stuff. So let's go to frame gen on. We'll keep it at balanced and 1080p. And let's go back. And with frame gen on, we're now in the sort of 50 mark. So we've got around the 50 FPS mark. And to be fair, this doesn't feel as bad with frame gen on. With the other two devices that I tested, the Xbox Ally and the R.O.G Ally, oh, there's a big stutter there. The frame gen was making it feel really heavy, but it's not feeling as heavy just here. And we're even hitting 60 FPS there. So this feels a lot better than the other two devices. Let's just try going full screen and going to 900p with the same settings. So we're in the 60 mark. Totally acceptable. Yeah, totally acceptable. We're almost getting to 70 FPS there, which is pretty good. We're in 70 FPS just then. Let's just try quality, which was their default, right? Was quality with frame gen on. I think that's going to be a little bit of a stretch. I mean, we're at like 50 FPS. Oh no, we're in the 60s again. It's catching up. It's 59, 57, sometimes hitting 61. This isn't too bad, if I'm perfectly honest. This is quite a heavy game to run, so it's not too bad. Let's just see how driving holds up, because on the other two devices, this is where stuff really got bad, was when you started driving, right? So when I started driving on the other two devices, it just started lagging and sort of freezing and jittering all over the place. But this, oh, board smash. This is, oh, there we go. I was gonna say this is actually a lot better, but I feel like when you start getting into like new areas that need to load, it really sort of tanks the performance. There you go, it's happened again. And it's every sort of like several hundred meters when you're driving that you'll just get like a massive like stutter. So let's just try dropping it down again from quality down to performance. And remember, we're at 900p now, and we do have frame gen on as well. So let's just give it a second to sort of stabilize. I think I just killed someone. We're at 60 FPS. We're now jumping up actually into 70 FPS mark. So 60 FPS in this area, and it still looks pretty good. It still looks pretty good. I'm seeing, if you look at under the back of the like tailgate of the car, you can see like heavy flickering and stuff from the like upscaling and frame generation. But 60 FPS, this is actually playable, way more playable than the other two devices, which it just wasn't ideal. It really wasn't. So if you don't mind using some upscaling and maybe dropping your resolution down to like 900p and using frame gen, then you can totally play on this. I've even just hit 90 FPS here. Obviously I'm out of the city, so it's not loading everything. So I've just like driven out, and that's why the frame rate's gone up so high. Whereas if I head back towards the city and go back in it, it's probably gonna take a little bit of a hit down. Yeah, we're straight back down to like 60 FPS. But it is playable, you know, like I can deal with this. It's not anywhere near as bad as it was on the Xbox Ally or on the R.O.G Ally either. This is totally playable, way less stuttering, more consistent frame rate, higher frame rate. Again, I am relying on frame gen here, which I'm not normally a fan of, but this game is quite taxing to run. So I'd probably recommend that you do, use it. You know, it's there. Use it. But yeah, so I would say it's totally playable on the Xbox Ally X. Okay, and now we are on to the Lenovo Legion Go 2. This is running SteamOS 3.9 as well, and I'm at 35 watts just here. So I'm going to just max this out, 35 watts, and let's go through this, shall we? So I'm going to go to options, go to video. We are on 1200p, so bear that in mind. This is going to be even more demanding to play than on the other devices, which were 16:9, and not having to fill that extra resolution, right? So I'm going to go ahead and, well, I've already done it, turned frame gen off. I'm going to pop this down to ultra performance. I'm going to turn motion blur off and VSync off as well. And then we're just going to go through there. So performance mode is the like lowest end like preset. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to back out and see where we're at. So I'm running it around, what, 40 to 45 FPS just here. And this is without frame gen on and at 1200p, but ultra performance upscaling. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Let's just throw on the frame generation just to see what sort of frame rate we're going to be getting. So let's pop that on up to almost 60 FPS. So sort of 56 to 60 FPS. But again, it immediately feels really clunky, which is kind of a problem with frame generation, right? I find it's a little bit, the latency is just noticeably heavy. It makes it feel like you're walking through mud instead of walking through water or something like that, or just air, right? That's the problem with frame generation, and it's definitely affected in this game. So let's just go ahead and turn this off. So turn frame gen off. Let's just go to performance and click OK, and then back out. Immediately this looks miles better. Can you see how much nicer this looks? Ultra performance is just so fizzly and like unstable. Performance is immediately miles better. And again, we're running it at like 40 FPS just here with no frame generation on, and it looks pretty good, you know, like compared to ultra performance at least. But yeah, high 30s just here. So sometimes we're hitting the 40s. Let's just go and pop it, for the sake of it, onto balanced. Looks a lot better again, but the frame rate has dropped. We're at now like 33, 34 FPS sort of mark. And just for the sake as well, let's go ahead and put it on quality mode and back out. Immediately looks way better, as you would expect. Again, the latency's like so much better because there's no frame gen, but we are at the sort of very low 30 FPS mark here. So what I'd probably say is let's go down and pop it to performance mode. And then I'm just going to try full screen and go down to 1050p. High 30s, not too bad, not too bad. And remember, we've just lowered the resolution. Let's just put frame gen back on. And we are on the lowest preset as well. But let's just put frame gen back on. This immediately looks a lot better though. Performance at 1050p, and we do have frame gen on now. We're sort of like the mid 50s mark. Not too great, but you know, still not too bad. I mean, it's quite a demanding game to run. This is, right? It is a demanding game to run. So you could, of course, drop the resolution down even more to 900p, but it's probably going to start looking a little bit savage. Yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great, but we are now into the sort of 60s. Can you hear the fans on the Legion Go 2 kicking up? It is loud, but we are in the sort of 60 FPS mark here. But again, we do have frame generation on, so just bear that in mind. Let's just see what driving around's like, because that has been the killer for this game on the other devices. Is driving around has just been absolutely not the one. Why am I trying to drive through this tiny little bit? So driving around has been the killer in this game, because I think as it loads areas, it's like causing stuttering. So as you, oh man, again with frame generation on, this is definitely not got power steering in this car. Like it is skatey and quite floaty, hard to drive. But let's just see if we get any savage stuttering, which we got on the Xbox Ally X, on the Xbox Ally, and on the R.O.G Ally. I would have started already on those other devices by now. So the stuttering issue is definitely less on here, but bear in mind I do actually have 16 gigabytes of VRAM set on this device. So I've got 16 to system, 16 to VRAM, so maybe that's helping out a bit. Remember, this isn't like a best settings video. This is just testing the game to see if it's even playable, to see if you want to actually purchase it on one of these devices if you own one, right? But yeah, this weirdly, I'm not getting any stuttering in the car. Like I had like hard freezes, like the frame rate just utterly tanked on those other devices, whereas on this one it seems to actually be handling it, and we're at like 60 FPS. Bear in mind though that again we're at like 900p performance with frame generation on. Oh mate, seriously? I reckon I could tweak the settings and probably get this running and looking a little bit nicer. And then hit OK, and then go back. Yeah, we're sort of mid 40s. Remember, there's no frame gen on now, so let's just try this. I'm getting like 45 FPS. So let's just see how this goes, shall we? Around the sort of 40 mark. I personally would probably play it without frame gen on, just because it doesn't feel as heavy. But look, I'm down into the 30 FPS mark now. I am into the 30s. But yeah, I mean, you get the idea. I definitely am not getting the weird stuttering and terrible like frame time issues that I was getting with the other devices. But I think it's probably largely down to the fact that I've got 16 gigabytes of VRAM set on the Legion Go. So yeah, this is the way to play it. If you've got a Legion Go 2 and you've got SteamOS on it, this is probably the best way of playing it, just because of the driving. I'm not getting any horrendous hitching or like stuttering that I was getting on the other devices. So there we go. All right, so there we have it. Will Samson run on handheld? Well, yeah, it will actually run on all of them, providing that you're using upscaling and also frame gen and pretty much putting everything on low. So the R.O.G Ally, which is running SteamOS, can definitely play it, but you're going to run into sort of frame time issues and stuttering whilst driving. But when you're on foot, not too bad. On the Xbox Ally, it's not great. It's gonna look like a potato. You're gonna get hitching and like frame time issues and stuttering whilst driving around. But if it's your only device and you're playing it on PC and you just want to pick it up and play it portably, well then yeah, like you can continue it on here, but just expect like 30 FPS, expect to be utilizing frame gen and all that kind of stuff. Check that section out. On the Xbox Ally, it runs pretty good, but the only issue I kept running into was with the driving. So whilst driving, I was getting all of those stutters and kind of bad frame rate and stuff like that, which is kind of a shame because I was expecting it to hold up better. And this is running 10 gigabytes of VRAM as well. And even though we had the game set to like the minimum quality setting, it was still causing that. But this is Windows as well, so bear that in mind. So it is playable on the Xbox Ally X, absolutely, of course it is. But again, you're going to be relying on frame gen and stuff like that. It's just the driving. I was running into big like stutters, which is quite game breaking for me. It just ruins the immersion. Of course, the Legion Go 2 is running SteamOS 3.9. Now we know that's way more performant. And also I do have 16 gigabytes of VRAM set on this. So there's 16 gig to system, 16 to VRAM, because this has 32 gigabytes in total. It's the big beastie one. Obviously it looks way better on this screen. It was also showing and displaying HDR as well, according to Steam, with the slider there. So when it's in the game, it is actually working, that slider, the brightness slider. And I didn't get any of those issues driving, which is weird because I got it on all of the other devices, even the R.O.G Ally that was on SteamOS. So that's what makes me think this is a VRAM issue, because I didn't have any stuttering or any frame like hitching or anything like that whilst driving on the Lenovo Legion Go 2, but I did on all the other devices. So this is probably the best one to play it on if you've got one of these and you're running SteamOS. But there we have it. Is Samson running well on these handhelds? Not really. Could it use some more optimization? Absolutely. But can you play it on these handhelds? Yeah. If you don't mind a few compromises, and for the best experience, it's going to be SteamOS on the Legion Go 2 with about 16 gig of VRAM set. So there we have it. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments whilst you're down there. Like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you get to chat to us over on our private Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.